Welcome to the Auto Vault podcast, where the world of luxury meets the open road. This show is all about bringing together extraordinary people from all walks of life, united by one thing, a passion for automobiles. This podcast is your front row seat to the stories that drive us all. I'm Scot Prescott, founder and owner of Auto Vault Rodeo Drive here in beautiful downtown Beverly Hills. Okay, hello everybody. I'm Scot Prescott at Auto Vault Storage in Beverly Hills. Today, we're going to have a little discussion with one of our clients, get to know a little bit more about him. Chris Gulczynski. He's a tech guru, app guy, all in the internet. Something I don't know that much about. Hopefully we'll know a little bit about today. Welcome, Chris. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Good. Well, a lot of times we're going to, at some point on our journey, wind through and get into some cars. Mm-hmm. But first, we wanted to know a little bit about you and how you ended up in the situation where you were. Like, where you're from, how you grew up, and what happened.
Sure. Well, originally, I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, little blue-collar town in what most people think is a flyover state. I don't know. I grew up there. I was into playing football when I was young. I initially went to Valparaiso University for a year to play football, and I realized very quickly that I did not want to play college football. It was a real experience in and of itself. So I came home and kind of like worked and did a thing, did my thing for a while. I got married pretty young. Then I decided to go back to school when I was like 25, 26. I went back to college, and I don't know. I found a love for like graphic design. I went to art school and got my degree. After that, I moved out to San Francisco and started working with some freelance clients. All these clients wanted. I thought I was going to be an illustrator. Everybody wanted website and app design. Wow. Which I really didn't know much about. So I had to start kind of like getting up to speed with what was then a very young field, user interface, user experience design. So I started working moved out to San Francisco. I started working with my first startup out there, which was, all of college really wrapped up in one. And it was like the real education of how you put this design knowledge into like practical use and the kind of pitfalls to watch out, especially working with startups. It's like a whole other animal. You got to think about, compensation with equity and all this kind of stuff that I had no idea about as a young college graduate. So, I don't know. I moved to LA, got hooked up with a couple of guys. I was the fourth guy in the team. They were working on a local loyalty rewards kind of thing, and we had a little downtime, and the two of the guys pitched us an idea of finding your Facebook friends on a map that wanted to flirt, and they had done a similar thing. I think it was a hackathon, maybe 2 weeks before I joined the team. I was the designer, so we designed out a quick, find your friends and a stack of people on a map, and it turned into Tinder. The thing we were working on kind of spooled down, and Tinder went up and to the right real fast, and everybody got pretty excited pretty quick. So, I don't know. That's how I got to LA. After that, I took a little time off and did another company, and then I got a call from Whitney Wolf to come out to London, and that turned into living in London for a couple months and making Bumble. And that was another couple of years being with them. And after that, I kind of bounced around a little while. Most recently, I've just been working on a new project for myself. So hopefully that'll be launching pretty soon.
That's the health related one you were talking about, right?
It's a community. It's a community ecosystem. So okay. It's focusing early on with like running clubs. Everyone's talking about running clubs are like the new dating app, right? Because no one is on the dating apps right now. They're all kind of like going into like real life situations. They're centered around like running clubs, jogging clubs, fitness, cold plunge. But that's where people are choosing to do all their networking. That's where they're like finding dates and doing all their flirting. It's like in real life and these types of like local community things. So the app I'm working on is basically just an ecosystem to kind of capture all that, make it easy for people to join communities, find communities, run their own communities if that's what they want to do. So the current state of social media has gotten to a point of, I think, toxicity. So this is going back to our real roots of like real like actual social networking, connecting with people over shared interests around you.
Well, a couple things in that section. First thing I want to say, what's a flyby city?
A flyover state.
Flyover state.
Yeah, that's the ones that you look down on.
You just never land.
as you're cruising over, you're like, oh, maybe I'll go to Wisconsin one day.
One day. Okay, there you go. That's clear. Now, when you were saying about the beginnings and all, and these are all the apps that you were looking into, grouping up with your friends and that kind of thing, and you were talking about in the beginnings, a lot of this in the beginning is finding money, finance, right?
Yeah.
Basically to start, and the finance is then spent on research, right?
So Tinder and both Tinder and Bumble were kind of like unique situations, is that we had single point of financing. We didn't have to like go out and solicit like outside investment. So Tinder came out of what's called like an accelerator, where they put together a couple little teams of, a couple programmers, a designer, and like a CEO, which Tinder initially was a 4-man team just like that. But it was funded through this larger corporation or a larger company called Hatch, which was funded by IAC. They own like Match.com and like a bunch of other companies. So we were just like the LA team, and they were like, come up with ideas, like throw a bunch of shit at a wall and see. Oh, sorry, is it okay?
That's okay. Yeah. And see what sticks. Yeah.
See what sticks. So like
Wow.
there was companies doing a wine app and this app and that whatever else app, and we were doing the it was like you connect your credit card, and when you shop at one of our partners, they get like loyalty points, and then you accrue these loyalty whatevers. And that's what we had this like downtime of like, well, what are we going to do with these 2 weeks while Apple was going over our app to let us in, and they pitched us the idea. The CEO Sean and the developer Joe, and there was a guy John, and I was the fourth guy. So John and I were kind of like, oh, I don't know about this. It kind of seems like a real meat market,
Wow.
And the other two guys, Sean and Joe, were like, oh, let's just it's lighthearted, it's flirting, it's so that's kind of the mindset I went into it with.
Now, when what you just said there, you had to wait for Apple. So is like Apple kind of the doorway, the gateway into these apps? You had to approve by them?
So we were like capturing transactional data, like intercepting people's credit card data. So when they swipe your card, that transaction data would pass through our server, that we'd be able to see like you spent money here on a card that's connected, and then we assign like loyalty points. So it was this like really complicated, and it had to be very secure process. So Apple was being like really scrutinous over like what we were capturing, what we were doing with this data to make sure that it was like
Privacy
secured
issue.
front end to back end. Yeah. So we really just had like 2 weeks of like nothing to do. And it was like, well, let's do this. So it took me about 2 weeks to crank out the first design. And it looked like we used this principle in design called skeuomorphism. And what that means is that it was based to look like a 3D object. So it looked like a stack of cards that had like volume to it. And initially we didn't even have the swipe. It wasn't based on that. It was like the buttons. You had to take like hit the button. So I showed it to a friend, and they were looking at it, kind of trying to manipulate. I'm like, I want to see who's underneath, because it looked like you could get to the bottom of the stack of cards. So I took it back to the guys, and one of the programmers was like, I did a flashcard app, and you could put it in buckets, and then we all kind of thought like, well, what if you pushed it this way, it meant one thing, and you pushed it the other way, it meant another thing. And it was very much a pragmatic solution to bucketing these people that you were seeing, and then the swipe was born out of very much practicality. So.
And that's something that's now used universally? Is that what you would
Yeah,
pretty much
man,
everywhere, right?
Yeah. There's, I guess intellectual property and proprietary inventions aside, the swipe has just become a ubiquitous.
Yeah. It's like Vaseline is petroleum jelly, but it's all called Vaseline.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So
now in an app, because I know I have no idea about it, and I'm sure a lot of people don't, as far as developing an app. I mean, Silicon Valley was ripe for everybody sitting in their dorm rooms to work on these things as it evolved. And so when you sit down as a group or individuals, how long does something like this take? I mean, you have to figure out every angle and every app or every angle of what has to be objectively in the app, right?
Yeah.
Every possibility.
So like traditionally you'd have like a designer, which was a role that I played, map out what's called like the user experience, the UX. Like what are the screens going to look like? Where are the buttons? And like if they hit this button, where does it go to? What's the path that they take? You know what I mean? Like what's your intended path? And then you got to like make it all look like something. So that's like the user interface. So you would kind of like skin it, right? Like make all the colors and make it look like what it looks like. And then you give that to a front end developer. They cut it up and make it into code. And then the back end developer makes like the database, right? So like the front end like talks to the back end. It says, I need the list of members to the club, right? And it fetches it and it brings it back. And then they make it look like the way that I designed it. So all those things kind of like work in concert with each other.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, development time depends on the crew you're working with. And these days, I mean, everything is kind of like prepackaged. When we were doing Tinder and Bumble 14, 12 years ago, things were like you had to do it all yourself. So now things are like packaged into like these code libraries. So you can pretty much like plug it and play it.
I see,
you know what I mean? It's gotten a lot easier for app development. But I mean, you still got to have an idea.
Yeah.
A really good idea and be able to translate that idea into that phone real estate of
Right.
what's it going to do, you know?
Right. Now, are there when you spoke about Apple looking at it, these are kind of as far as financing and getting things off the ground. They're kind of like companies kind of like Shark Tank, where you sit in front and you sell them something, and they give you money or give you opportunity.
Yeah.
In the internet world.
So we call those people VCs, venture capitalists.
Yeah.
So there's big institutional venture capitalists. There's small little boutique capitalists, venture capitalists. There's angel investors who are just like high net worth individuals. There's syndicates of angel investors. There's family offices. There's like everything in between. And when you want to raise money for a project, you know, you put together a pitch deck, maybe some revenue models, your best guess of what it's going to be, and then you go out there and you try and sell a little piece of this to a venture capitalist, and you got to sit with the analyst, and then you go to the partner meeting, and then you got to talk to this guy and you talk to that guy, and maybe you could scrape together a couple $1 million, maybe, who knows, and then give yourself a shot at it. So, I mean, it's a rat race. It really, it really is to participate in all this. But I don't know. I've done the whole process quite a few times now.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And once you've been down the road a few times, then you can kind of plug and play, like you said, with what you want to do later on.
Yeah, hopefully you get a little better at it and stop making the same damn mistakes.
Yeah,
every time.
There you go. Well, good. Well, because I remember years back, and I don't know what actual year it was, but when I first started my business, there was no computers, there was no internet. You know, there was a fax machine, an answer machine. Those are kind of the high tech things, high tech features of an office. And when the internet did come about, and we started to look at the internet, and there was AOL.com, you know, or what was Lighthouse.com, or some of the original ones, and didn't know if that was going to stay or not. You know, and the changes and all, and it's just a fling. What's going to happen? And now look where we are today. I mean, it was almost like inventing the wheel.
No, right? I mean, you can go back on the internet and read all the old articles of like, you know, the fad of the internet and people saying like, oh, this isn't going to be a thing. And I don't know, like, what do you look at today too? Like the crypto stuff. Like, is it a thing? Is it going to stick around? Like, I don't know. Nobody really knows. You know, I think there's some educated guesses out there, but I don't know. I couldn't imagine running a company back then. Yeah. Because I mean, like now, like my team is delocated. Like my project manager is in Toronto. I've got a developer in Manchester, UK. One's just outside of Mexico City. Wow. I mean, I've got a local team. So like I live full time in Austin, and I've got a couple people there that I work with. Just because the stuff that we're doing relies a lot on like physical marketing, like in-person marketing. So I have to be together. But I'm thinking to try and do that 40 years ago. Right. Would have taken a lot of coordination.
Yeah. You used the United Postal Service a lot.
Yeah.
Sending brochures and sending paperwork and invoicing. And that's all how the business ran.
You couldn't hop on a quick conference call even back then, or a Zoom call, or, you know, so just basic communication, I think, is a real challenge.
So this evolution. Now, along with evolution, we're now flirting with this AI, the artificial intelligence and all. And what's your take on that?
Oh, man. It's like on one end, it's like the Terminators are coming for us, and the other end, it's like no big deal. Just like you were saying about the internet, right? So where does it really fit in? I don't know. I use AI, specifically the ChatGPT, large language models. If you like, we pay for the super special one, and you get more resources. It's like $200 a month or something. But
Cadillac version.
yeah, but you can use that as basically like a junior employee. You know.
Yeah.
It'll like if you have like certain research tasks, or you just needed to compile a bunch of stuff, right? Like it'll get you 80% of the way, so that you got all the information you need to then layer on your own innovation, right? Because like AI right now, and like, I mean, I'm going to preface this with, I went to art school. I am not a developer. Like you know, I know enough to be dangerous, but I'm by no means an expert, a computational expert. So
You carry a knife, but it's dull.
yeah, very true, very true. It looks imposing, but yeah. So what it does right now, I guess it's really good at accumulating stuff, putting stuff together, summarizing large bits of data, and distilling it down to like what's the key points, and then like that provides, I think, a certain level of personalization when it comes to consumer tech. So what it doesn't do right now is give you like a lot of novel approaches. Like it's not gonna, you can't say like, come up with a new rocket design for me, because it doesn't know how to do that. It can give you an amalgamation of every rocket design that's ever been built,
already,
right? That it can comb through, but it doesn't have that layer of sophistication to give you like something new yet. That still comes from humans. So I don't know. It's all in how we utilize it and where it goes to. Right now, I think a lot of AI is tied to consumerism and capitalism, and just the way we do business. It's got to be defensible in some business sense. So I don't know. That's where the incentivization is right now.
Right.
So, and it's only as smart as the stuff that we feed it and what we tell it to do right now.
Yeah.
So right now we're kind of telling it to like make us money.
Right.
So
right.
I don't know.
Right. And it is, and too, like Hollywood will give us the Darth Vader version of it, like you said, and yet when you talk to other people, it's going to be so helpful and amazing that we have to have it, kind of thing. So there's this push and pull that not quite there.
We have this propensity towards being reactive than proactive. So I think it's gonna get to a point of like, ooh, well, we gotta do something now.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm no expert. That's just my uneducated.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, being that we're here at AutoVault, being that we do cars and all, being that you and I have basically connected over automobiles, what was your journey with automobiles? It started as a kid, or you like them as a kid?
Yeah, I always did. I was always kind of fascinated. My dad was always a car guy, so even like just in general, like stuff that like went fast. Like he was always into I don't know, boats and cars, and I even like go-karts. Like he used to take me to the monster truck rallies when I was a kid. Wow. So or like races. We used to go see races. He lived out in one of the suburbs of Milwaukee, kind of in the country at the time, and they had a little like dirt racetrack out there that they would race the outlaw like sprint cars.
Yeah.
And the old like Dominators too, and they ran like that like alcohol whatever, and it would like dry your mouth out, like you could smell it too, and it would it would pelt you with the dirt as they came past, and rip up. Yeah. So I was always kind of like into that when I was a kid, so it just naturally translated into, I don't know. You get a little something in your pocket, and you're like, I want a little flashy car to drive. Yeah. And here we are.
Yeah, because I basically in our some of our podcasts we talk about, and somebody asked me about my cars and what I did and how I got involved and all, and I can remember now basically what you just said is I can remember now as a kid where I grew up, very rural. We grew up in the middle of the woods. We had a town over, a couple towns over, that have an annual fair, a big fair, and one of the on the fairgrounds they would have a demolition derby race, and it was a big track that was shaped as an eight track, and everybody in town would take out their junk cars and whatever and doll them all up and weld everything to them, and then take them out on the demolition derby, and then try the basic thing was you try to crash into everybody, and the last car that runs around the track wins. And the idea is to protect your radiator in the front of your motor so you're backing into everybody all the time. That was a level of excitement that I would go see about cars, even before I really knew that much about cars. But I would love to go watch that race. And that, I think, was, for me, now that I'm thinking about it, as you said, was kind of the beginning of the excitement of cars, was watching those races.
Yeah. I used to live not too far away from the state fairgrounds in Milwaukee, but they the very famous racetrack, the Milwaukee Mile. Have you ever heard of that? It's
I think I have. Yeah.
yeah, a real short track. They used to do Winston Cup Series races. Indy cars used to come there, and I could hear it from my house because we were only a few blocks away. So when they were qualifying, I used to ride my bike down there and try and peek over the fence and see what they were running. And one day that they had the track, the gate open, right? And nothing was happening, and they had a couple of there was a race in town, obviously, so they were doing stuff. So I just rode my bike down. I must have been 10, 12 years old, and I'm riding through the pits, and I'm looking at all the race cars and not really knowing that I probably shouldn't be there. And that's back when like Andretti and like Emerson Fittipaldi and like all those guys were racing. And man, I saw the drivers walking. Like I knew who these guys were, and I thought it was so cool. And I went home and told my dad, and I was like, I saw Emerson Fittipaldi. I think I saw Andretti. And he goes, "Where the hell were you? Like, what were you doing?" Yeah, figured I probably shouldn't ride my bike down to the drivers' meetings anymore.
Wow.
So
probably can't do that today. Wow. Well, so as your evolution in automobiles, I mean, I know you have a Porsche and some other cars.
Yeah.
If you were to say unlimited funds and you wanted a car collection, or what was some of say that maybe the top 5 or 6 cars that you really would want?
Well, I'm definitely a Porsche guy at heart. So like being a bigger guy, I feel like I'm a little limited as to like what I can even get into. So some of the older ones, it's like, man, I love a Ford GT, but like, am I gonna fit into it? I don't know, man. So like in a non-physical, I don't have to care that I'm 6'3" and 300 pounds. It's tough. I've always loved like vintage Porsche. My very favorite when I was a kid growing up was the 88 turbo, 89 turbos with those big whale tails.
930 turbo.
Man, I used to build like the little testers models of those things.
Yeah. Ravel and Tester, I did that all the time too. Yeah.
Like an 89, like a black 89 Countach with the gold wheels. Ooh, that would be cool. I know I definitely wouldn't fit in that car.
Wow. Yeah. No, you wouldn't. No. You have to cut the hole out of the roof.
Yeah, literally. When I remember when I got a big payday from Bumble, I raced to the Lambo dealership. I was in Austin, Texas, and I took my girlfriend with me, and I was like, "We're buying a Lambo."
Wow.
And I tried to squeeze my large self into a Huracan, and was not happening. Was not. I mean, like between the legs,
and you can't reach the pedals aren't proper there, and
So we had to
abort
mission.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, current. So I guess it's like you can divide it into like those old cars that I've always like reminisced about, like newer cars. Man, I don't even know if I'd fit into a Ferrari. I'd love to get like a 458 or something, like a 488. But that might be a little hard to drive. So my main wish list is like Porsches 911s. I think it's the best.
For the size, you can fit bigger people in them. It's crazy.
Man. Yeah. And you know what? I just don't think you can beat the design, the silhouette. Like, it's just the car, man.
Right. And that's why the car has basically stayed the same since its inception. Because if it works, if it's not broke, you don't fix it.
Yeah.
And it's worked. That whole the mid-engine thing and the whole rear engine. I mean, everything works, and there's really no need to change it other than just perfect it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even took a look at a 718, the GT4, the last year, the GT4.
Yeah.
I had a tough time fitting in that car too.
Yeah.
Man, like they just don't make many sports cars as far as for full-figured men.
Yeah, full-figured.
We should get into the plus-size market.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there is some cars that come out with that have bigger doors in them. But
sure.
Now that would open up for you as far as size goes, because I had another individual here a little while ago, and I asked him the question of cars, and he went off on this American muscle tangent like I never expected him to. I mean, that's what his fantasy was. It's American muscle cars and special Chryslers and this and that from the 50s and 60s. And I thought, wow, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Those cars, like, old GTOs and those have no trouble fitting in those cars.
No, for sure.
Back then, yeah.
But then it's like, I don't know. I could see like having a project car, but like I don't find myself having the patience for it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. My dad had a 944. I think it was an 85 or an 84. And he monkeyed around with it for a while, but it's like and then stuff starts going wrong with it, and like you gotta always fix it. I like to go in and
Right, just
not have
turn
to
the
think
key
about
and
it.
drive it. Yeah.
You just get the enjoyment out of it.
Yeah. Now, in Wisconsin, did you have any experience with snowmobiles?
Yeah, snowmobiles, motorcycles too.
Yeah.
I drove a 1982 Yamaha Seika. It was like a 400 when I was in high school.
Oh, yeah.
My dad bought an '89 FJ 1200. That bike was huge. It was kind of like a touring. A little Ford had like the front fairing on it, blue and gold. It was a beautiful, beautiful bike, but it had so much power and torque. This huge 1200 cc engine. Man, it scared the bejesus out of me.
Was it like an enduro type of bike?
Kind of, yeah.
Wow.
Like you could put the front wheel on like an incline and then just goose the throttle, and the whole bike would just jump off. And it was a big bike. It was a big heavy bike.
Wow.
Crazy.
Now, growing up, what was your first car that you owned?
My first car was a 1993 Ford Ranger.
A pickup truck.
A pickup truck with no power steering. It was a manual transmission, bench seat, rubber mats on the floor.
Wow.
I used to put it. I lived on like an alleyway, and I used to train for football. So I would put it in neutral and push it up and down the block. And I'll get to the end, start it up, turn it around, push it back in neutral, and then I'd push it all the way back down.
Wow. Wow.
Man, I used to jump that thing up on snowbanks.
Yeah.
I really put it through its paces.
Wow.
I think I sold it for $900 at the end of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And again, because being from New England, snow like where you're from and all.
Yeah.
I had a 65 when I was in high school. I had a 65 Thunderbird, and it was my cherry. It was my girl. I worked on it at school. I did everything. It had chrome wheels on it, dual exhaust.
Sure.
So in the wintertime, I would put it up, and I drove this Ranchero, this Ford Ranchero, which was the pickup truck version, like an El Camino.
Yeah.
And in the wintertime, what I would do is my father would like put cement blocks in the back of the trucks and all. Well, the cement blocks sometimes would bang around and they were dangerous if you got into an accident. So I got this idea of actually pouring concrete into the back of the bed of the truck.
See, that's smart.
Swing it all around, let it all flow in, let it dry, and then put studded snow tires on the car. And you could get out of anything. You could run in the ice, run in the snow, and then in the summertime you just take a sledgehammer and just break it all out of the back of the car.
That was the worst part about it was the wintertime.
Yeah,
I used to have to drive around with the big sandbag, big tubes of sand.
Yep.
Oh man, that was terrible. Or like I would have like blankets that I would have that to put under the wheel and get some traction.
Yeah.
Because if you left it out too long in Wisconsin when it snowed, the plows would come past.
Yep, and put up the berm.
And, I mean, it would literally pack your car in there. So
yeah, those are the days.
Jeez.
Now, what would now? I noticed you do drive a Tesla.
Yeah,
You have one.
Yeah.
Now, in the internet world and all, and how the cars interact with the internet and all, what's your opinion on electric cars? What do you think is going to happen there?
I mean, as like a practical city car, I think it's great.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just going to leave out like all the ways that like electricity is manufactured and just pretend that it's like a very clean process, because in my head, that's the way I justify it. And I hope that, we get there and maybe, solar manufacturing and all that kind of stuff lines up. So I think as an idea, getting off fossil fuels, it aligns with what I think. And it's meant like so easy. You just jump in the car, put your foot down.
Gone.
You're gone. You don't have to think about it. And the building that I live in Austin has charging, free charging. So, I mean, I plug it in, I go. It's like literally no maintenance. I think the only maintenance I really had to do is like tire pressure. So I had a Macan S that shock one, right?
Yeah.
That matches my 911.
Yeah.
So I gave it to my dad, and like he loves it. But when I get into it, and I really remember, it's like, man, this is just an altogether different
Experience.
I mean, like it's weird to even call it an electric car, because it's like, it's a car, and the fact that it's got four wheels and it makes you go, but like literally everything else is different. It's just almost uncomparable.
Right.
And the experience that you get from driving it, just the tactile, the feedback, the acceleration, everything is just completely different. So,
Then a gasoline, you're saying, versus gasoline versus electric. Yeah.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
So like it's very pragmatic, like just kind of like your daily.
Yeah. for a commuter type of car.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
If you live in the country and you got to drive more than 20, 50 miles a day, it might start to
wear on you, the plugging in thing.
right?
Yeah.
Because then you if you miss a night overcharging, it might throw off your whole driving schedule.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to take a long road trip, my dad and I drove the Tesla a few times back and forth from LA to Austin, and oh boy, every 2.5 hours you got to sit and charge, and you can't just do the 10 minutes it tells you. You got to do the 40 minutes, otherwise
you're gonna have to keep stopping.
Oh jeez.
Wow. Yeah. Because I've seen that they talk about these car companies talking about being all electric by 28 or being in a 32 or something like that. But I don't see the structure being built for that.
It's a bold claim. Yeah. There's just so much infrastructure. I mean, like obviously Tesla's got the corner of the market right now, which I think is a huge asset to the company.
Right.
Aside from like the actual vehicles they produce. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. For those major manufacturers to say we're going all electric, they better do a lot of building between now and then.
Yeah. And the thing is, and as as we've got older, I grew up in the muscle car age, through the 60s and 70s and all, when that was essentially your DNA, when you grew up in those kind of cars and you become one with your car. And that was so emotional in those days growing up, even today with the gasoline cars.
Sure.
I don't see that leaving. That connection with the gasoline motor, I don't see that leaving. And I can't see that it's going to actually just disappear and we're going to be taken over by electric. I don't see that's going to go. So to say what's going to happen in the future, I really don't know. Really don't know what's going to go on with them.
I don't know. There's a lot of factors in it too, like just even thinking about disposable income and like state of the economy, right? That's going to really shape how people buy cars and what's available, and looking at price points of EVs versus traditional or even hybrid too, right? And then it's all about what even subsidies manufacturers are getting to put these components into the cars too.
Right.
So there's a lot of factors at play, but as it boils down to like just you and I, Joe Consumer, about what we're driving.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to. It's like a flip of a coin. You just don't know how it's going to shake out.
Right. Someone else said when we were talking about electric cars, and they said the issues of the lithium, and as we get more right now, the electric cars out there, but when we reach 60-70% of the cars on the road are electric, there's going to be a battery problem. There's going to be a lithium problem. And basically, lithium is more deadly than the carbon monoxide that we're trying to replace.
You're exactly right. No matter which way we look, we're getting into some kind of like resource crisis.
Yeah.
Or, just the mining and the effect it has on the environment. Right? There's just so many myriad things that impact this that it's you can't just say this, that.
Yeah.
It's not black and white.
Right. Wow. Well, this has been interesting. I know fast more now as we discussed and where we go on from there. So where do you with this app that you're doing now? Where do you think you want to walk down the road and do some more? Or do you kind of full of this whole thing, or
I hope this is the one.
Yeah,
because boys, starting up companies is,
I know,
it's made my beard all gray. Like I used to be a young man.
Wow.
But no, I mean, too, you got to worry about like your effectiveness. Like just I'm 45 now, so my effectiveness in a market like this, it's got a lifespan, like making consumer apps.
Yeah.
To try and say, like I might be 60 one day and say I'm trying to stay hip and have my finger on the pulse of what consumers are doing. That might be a little tougher job than now. Yeah. So I feel the clock ticking. I really hope this is the one.
Wow, that's interesting. So in that world, there's basically a shelf life. You're saying. I mean, you think that
it's
that
like
kind of thing.
like
you
how
lose touch.
the old like ad men. You know what I mean? It's like you would get old and start to slow down, and you wouldn't have the best ideas anymore, and so you'd have to transition to something else. So I feel like I really got to like make hay while the sun shines here.
Because that industry, I think it survives on new, doesn't it? It just survives on the new stuff, and and what's the flavor of the month now that's brand new versus what it was before. Don't worry about that.
Yeah,
we got to focus on the new.
And it takes so much. Like you really got to focus on a single area and doing all the research. And like I've been working on this idea, not the specific company, but the idea behind the company for years, right? So it's like, man, to just throw that and jump into something else to another years. It's like I've only got so many years myself, so I got to pick and choose.
Right. Wow. So you got to pace yourself a little bit. Well, thank you very much for coming by and sharing a little piece of your world. I really appreciate it. I know a little bit more, and I hope everybody here learns a little bit more. And thank you so much for dropping by.
It's my pleasure.
Thanks for riding with us today. If you enjoyed the show, please be sure to subscribe and share. See you here next time.